is there's one scene from the film that continues to plague my mind year after year. Again, really just 2018 and the present. Although, I don't know, maybe for a couple minutes in 2019 I thought about this too. I really don't know. It's about a 3-minute long scene, maybe even less, that, I don't know, I just can't help but examine it. In the movie, I don't really think there's any such thing as spoilers with this film. Um, I'm sorry if I did ruin it for anyone, I really do, but the concept is laughable to me, and I hate to be that person. But there's a scene in the film, The Polar Express, where all the kids, at least in this train car, are gathered together. And the conductor, Tom Hanks, comes in, and he gets on the intercom system, and he asks if the children would like refreshment, that being hot chocolate. And out comes this group of waiters, and they do this song and dance, and they dish out the hot chocolate, and they supposed to be like this a catchy musical number for the film. And they're drinking their hot chocolate and having a lovely time, and then they're done, and all the singing waiters leave, and that's that. Well, number one, I'm going to answer every last one of my questions and observations right now. It's a film. It's a film. It's a children's film. Realism doesn't exist. All right, that's the answer to everything right there, and I get that. But it's still questions, even though I know that that's what the answer is. Every time I look at it, and I can't help but watch it at this point in time, even if I'm punishing myself, I look at it, and these questions always come to mind, and I know that that's the answer to them, but I can't help myself. So, as I said, we've gone this far, there's no stopping now, let's just keep it going. Alright, you could even watch the clip that I'm about to watch. It's called Polar Express Hot Chocolate Requested. Right? Everyone's favorite. So we've got Tom Hanks there. I'm not going to play the audio because I'm sure the vicious team from Polar Express is out there looking for any chance to get the copyright, so you can just listen along if you want or not. I'll try to masterfully describe it. But you've got Tom Hanks there. He grabs the intercom, asks if they want refreshment, and all the kids, every last one of them, does want said refreshment. Now, okay, here's the first question that I have. That's a good start. Obviously, these are kids. It's understandable. You want to know if, and it's nice of them to provide complimentary beverages, but when you say refreshment, that implies a lot of different things. I mean, refreshment, well, what does that exactly mean? It could mean anything. It doesn't imply a full meal normally, but what do these kids know what they're going to be getting when he says that, right? It could mean he's going to give them a little cup of water from questionable sources. He might give them each, a little bit of a cracker and no water. Maybe they'll get Grandma's Christmas cookies. Maybe they'll get, a McRib or something. Maybe they'll get hot chocolate. Maybe they'll get an espresso. It's like it's leaving the door open. So, still, there's nothing wrong with just asking the general question. You guys hungry? You guys thirsty? Engaging the enthusiasm, which clearly the kids are all enthusiastic about. Every last one of them in the car raises their hands. So then he kind of, he says, "I thought so." After he sees their enthusiasm, and he swings open the door, which I suppose was to the next car. And this whole, whatever you want to call them, like this squad of waiters, all of which look alike to a T. I mean, it's like these are clones. These, I don't know if these things are human. It's like they're clone creatures. They all are identical in terms of just how they look. There are no differences from one to the next. So either there's, genetic experimentation going on with the Polar Express, or they just like hit the jackpot and this whole family of identical twins, maybe they signed up and all wanted to be waiters. I don't know. But these identical looking guys just pour into the room. So I have to guess, number one, that they were all hiding in the next train car. They were waiting for his cue, and then they all just barge in. What if the kids just said, like, nah, we're not really feeling it, we don't want the refreshment, right? That's another thing. So what you would expect in any other circumstance, then, is that, the waiters would come in and they would be, perhaps give the kids a little bit of options. They might present a menu, whatever. But they come in, they start doing their little bit of a dance, and I guess they're magic waiters. They have to be, because they take the apron off their waist and they just kind of fold it, and it just hangs as a table in the air. Now, granted, that's one thing that the only explanation, as you can say, is that it's just a movie and it's movie magic. All right, fine. I'll take that. I'll concede on that one. Then they bring in the hot chocolate, and you have these two chefs with the real poofy hats and the thing of the hot chocolate come in. They're doing their acrobatics in the train car, as, we know they all like to do. They do their dance. I'm not really gonna... It's just stupid to critique how they handle it, because, again, it's a movie. But number one, until they start singing, they never explicitly tell the kids what the refreshment is going to be. Hot chocolate, by default, I mean, it could be anything, it could just be heated water, or it could be heated milk. If it's milk, and it might be, it might not be, I really don't know what recipe they use on the Polar Express. Did they vet all the kids beforehand and see if they were lactose intolerant? Again, that's otherwise irresponsible. To at least not even have any sort of disclaimer and make sure that they're good. I mean, it's one thing if they're adults who already know this or not, but, especially with kids, you gotta make sure everything is good to go. So, they pass it around, that's fine. That's not a big complaint. One lyric in the song that I do have a bit of a problem with is they say, as they're singing the hot chocolate song, they say, we've got one rule here. Never ever let it cool.
Here we've only got one rule. Never ever let it cool.
Alright, cool rhymes with rule, that's fine. I understand that's why they threw that in, and it's hot chocolate. I get that. And maybe it's just me, but I have made the mistake of, drinking a beverage, the moment it's poured out, when it's really hot, or eating a food item as soon as it comes out of the oven. I've burnt my tongue very badly. Actually, there was a time, I kid you not, where I drank some hot chocolate, and it was just painful. It burnt my tongue, it hurt a lot. So, hot chocolate, especially really fresh, you gotta let it cool for a little bit. Not cold, but even on the lower, to me anyway, if I were to drink hot chocolate, I would want it either very warm or, lightly hot. I know that's silly. I just don't want it to be extremely hot. I just can't drink that. Same thing, I remember there was a time I got this pizza slice out of the oven, and I thought I let it cool for like a minute or two. I went in for the bite, and sure enough, it was just way too hot. It burnt my tongue, it burnt the roof of my mouth. To the point where eventually, the skin kind of died and fell off, and it was very painful. I never made that mistake again, but it hurt. It's one of the worser burns I got in my mouth. So, for me anyway, if it was the hot chocolate poured straight out and it was just freshly brewed, I would have to let it cool at least a little bit for my own, for my own sake. I don't care what anyone else does. If they want to drink it hot and they can do that, that's fine. This is just one of the things that I do for me. For me, you don't need to, right? It's up to you, whatever you're comfortable doing. Now, number one, if I were on the Polar Express, I think I would, and if I were given the hot chocolate, I would test the water a little bit. I would go and I would take maybe like a little tiny sip, right? A minuscule amount, just to see, okay. It's like dipping a toe in. You're seeing, all right, is it good to drink now? If not, I'll give it a minute or so, try again. But I wouldn't just gulp it down immediately, because again, if it's really too hot to comfortably drink, I'll be in for a bad time. So that's what I would do. But like, what is their definition of letting it cool? Do they just want it to be like boiling hot? Do they moderately warm? Is that still okay, or do they consider that cool? And that's their one rule. Now, what happens if you break the rule? Like, what do they kick you off the train? How does that work? They don't tell you. That's actually the scariest thing about it. They tell you what the rule. They don't tell you what happens if you let it cool.
Advice. Dogs, can you hear me, dogs? Listen to me, Anthony. I got your head in a fucking vice. I'll squash your fucking head like a grapefruit.
So you don't even. That's one of the things that people, I don't think they really realize. As an adult, parts of the Polar Express could genuinely be interpreted as a horror movie. There's some other scenes that easily could be, but this is one of the subtleties that it makes you think. It's almost like a veiled threat. That then you start thinking about the psychopathy going on, at least amongst those in charge, right? They're making it this playful song and dance. They're giving the kids this boiling hot chocolate and forcing them to drink it. That's not good. They're threatening them if they don't. They don't even tell them what's going to happen. That's scary. So, and no one thinks about this. They think, oh, hot chocolate. They don't look at the repercussions. That's a big problem. Now, out of the frying pan and into the literal fire here, it gets worse. They're giving out the hot chocolate, and the scene is something that is supposedly playing out in real time. There's no time jump here. The scope of the hot chocolate dance, so to speak, is, it's not like they dish out the hot chocolate and then there's a cut and maybe 30 minutes later they're done with their hot chocolate and they come to recollect it. This entire scene is the entire length of the hot chocolate consumption experience. Here's what makes it worse. Do you know how much time they give the kids to drink the hot chocolate in this scene? Just take a guess, I think most people would say maybe a few minutes, maybe, you kind of are already making it sound like real sadistic, so maybe, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3-4 minutes, maybe longer, right? It's the Polar Express. Maybe they have as much time as they want and unlimited refills. That'd be nice. Wrong. All of it is wrong. I counted it. They gave the kids about 20 seconds. From the second that this hot chocolate is poured in the cups to the second that they begin collecting the cups, they give them about 20 seconds. Now, let me ask you this. if you are not any sort of competitive eater, how many of you will drink a decent-sized cup of, again, hot chocolate in the span of 20 seconds? I know that wouldn't apply to me, and even for most regular people. To drink something that quick, right, you just gotta gulp it down. I mean, I'm sure people have gone and, pounded back a beer or something, just, either at a party or something that quickly, but it's something that mindfully needs to be done, largely in a competitive nature. And again, it's not like they're pouring the hot chocolate in a shot glass. This is a good, let's say, like a coffee cup, a good-sized coffee cup. It's almost, well, let's look. It might even be, no, I was wrong. This is like a bowl. This is like, think of almost like a soup-sized bowl filled with hot chocolate. And you're supposed to drink that in 20 seconds. And I mean, this is pretty harrowing, if you ask me, but the good news, I guess, is that the kids seem to be okay with it, which is good. It just provides a horrific thought experiment otherwise. But the kids seem to be okay with it. I mean, they seem to be doing all right, enjoying it and drinking most of it down. As a matter of fact, just playing along with the film's logic and the plot. After the 20 seconds is elapsed, it actually seems that most, if not all, of the kids' cups are emptied. So the kids, really liked it. Maybe it was at a drinkable temperature. Maybe it was really good. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that, look, maybe this is the best hot chocolate you've ever had. It's hot, but it still is edible and drinkable, and you could do so safely, right? So, okay, that's fine. Everyone's good. The last thing that they do, which is almost worse than, anything we've even discussed right now. And mind you, we're giving them so many breaks at this point, it's not even funny. I don't know if this is done. I really don't know why. If this is done as like a cost-cutting measure, if it's done just... There's no explanation as to why they do what they do next. It might be like some sort of sick joke. It might be more to it than that. It's by far the most bewildering and easily the most disgusting aspect of it all when you think about it. The kids have finished their hot chocolate. They have the empty cups now on their table. Again, it's only been 20 seconds. The waiters are already back. They never left. And they refill all their hot chocolate. Now, this might give the kids a glimmer of hope, like, wow, this was the best damn hot chocolate I've ever had in my life, and I'm getting seconds. Like, this is the best Christmas ever, right? I'm actually getting more free refill. Wow, I can't believe that. Let's go in for round 2. But the moment that they get their hot chocolate refilled, the waiters grab it off their table, put it back on their trays, collect the magical table, aka their apron, put it back on, and they all leave, and the car is empty once again. Now, the kids don't really mind that, but it seems, number one, problematic to me, that you're giving the kids this perhaps delicious hot chocolate, you're refilling it, you're giving everyone now these pleasant vibes and hopes that, wow, we're getting another refill, only then to, take it away and just leave. That just seems a little uncalled for. That the implication that they're getting more is there, but then it's just taken away from them. Now, was this like a subtle message thrown in by the producers, about other issues? I don't know. Or could this just be, maybe it's just a weird editing issue. Maybe they, put the scene together in a different order than it's actually displayed, and I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Have you ever been to a restaurant where you get drinks, and after you're done, they refill your glass, and then just grab it, take it away before you could even have another sip, and you never even see it again. I just laugh at the absurdity of that. That would be so strange. You go and you want water, you're very thirsty, you drink it down quick. The waiter or waitress comes back, refills it for you, and then just grabs it off the table and leaves with it. What a strange thing that would be, wouldn't it? Certainly is to me anyway, and I would wager it would be eyebrow-raising for most. So they all trot off, and that's the scene. Alright, my question is, why did they do that, and what are they going to do with this hot chocolate? Alright, there's a few possibilities. Again, the easiest one being it's a movie, and who cares why they did it, right? That's the reasonable answer. But then you start assessing everything else, and you start thinking, well, what if? And none of these possibilities are really good. Number one, maybe the waiters, they hate their job, or they're sadistic, or whatever, and they like screwing around with the poor kids. And it's like they all have this inside joke amongst the wait staff, where it's like, all right, let's do this. Let's just mess around with these poor kids, pretend we're gonna refill them, and then just grab it and look at their faces when we do that. That could be one thing. Maybe it's just like some sick joke among the wait staff. Another possibility is that maybe the hot chocolate is so good, the wait staff just had to get some for themselves, so they give themselves a little bit of a complimentary refill, and then leave, and maybe they go into the next car to drink it down themselves or something. But then you think that'd be kind of weird, because these are the same cups that these kids have just been drinking out of. And just, looking at it from a sanitary point of view, that's a bit strange, admittedly. Alright. Now, then there's the most disturbing thing. That really... it's all I can say. What if the Polar Express is really cheap? And these cups are the only ones they've got on the entire train. And, they're not going to do dishwashing between each service, because it's a big train. I imagine there's other cars full of kids, just like this one. And there might be other cars full of kids, right? So what if, then, they decide to reuse the same cups without washing them over and over and over for each hot chocolate, consumption? So these kids, they better be in the first car, because then they'll get the regular, hopefully clean cups. But then the ones right afterwards in the second are going to get the dirty cups refilled on the spot that the first kids already drank from. And then, the third car is going to get the dirty cup that now two other people have drank from, and so on. And now, the folks in the last car will probably notice some weird things going on. Lots of smudges, whatever, on the cup. Although if they did fill it high enough, they might do that on purpose and just fill it really high to the brim, so that, you just see the hot chocolate and you can't tell that now 7 other people have just, within the last, again, given the time, probably 20 minutes, have just guzzled this down before you, right? With no washing, no cleaning, nothing. And they'll try to just mask that. I don't know. But it makes you really concerned, especially in terms of health risks, health concerns. I guarantee you, it was, when you think of it that way, it was disgusting then. When you think of it today with everything going on, it's even worse. So either way, my final thoughts on the Polar Express, it's a lose-lose situation. No one wins. And you better hope at least to get out with your life. That's all that I'll say right there. So on a final note, I said my piece. I said everything I need to say. My advice to you, for God's sake, if you have to watch it, just watch it as an innocent holiday film, and please, for goodness sake, do not assess it as I just assessed one single scene. Because if you do that, you're going to be up for weeks. It's going to be terrifying. That's just breaking down one scene in the film. Imagine now doing this for an hour and 40 minutes. Just save yourself and get out while you can. That is all. You're listening in to VORW International.